YouTube, what is going on? So, is the credit bureau who I need to reach out to pertaining to everything that is wrong with my credit report? Let's talk about it. So the answer to that question is no. The credit bureau are not who you need to go to for everything that is wrong with your credit report, right? And part of really having a healthy credit is really truly understand how credit work. Because if you look at every one of us that's in the 800 club, there's only one thing that differentiates us from you. It's not because we're smarter than you, or it's not because we better looking than you are, any of that stuff, right? It's just simply because we know how credit work. We understand how it work. We understand this 5 category, what the credit algorithm, the FICO algorithm uses to calculate your credit score, right? So you just have to take advantage of our 5 category. So, but in terms of knowing who and what you need to do in order for you to have a higher credit score, then the credit bureau won't be, at least at the beginning, won't be the first point of contact for every issue that you may have. So I kind of have a few examples of who you would probably need to go to first, the process, and if you need to go to the credit bureau after, then you would do that. So if it's a collection, sure. It's a collection. That means someone has reported you to the credit bureau. Then at that point, you would need to dispute those collection based on inaccuracies, incorrect information. Why? Because the Fair Credit Act state that in this law that everything that's in your credit report, everything that is reported to your credit report has to be 100% accurate. Okay, so if it's a collection, yes, the credit bureau will be your first point of contact. You will write them the first round letters and ask them to verify that information. And then based on if there's any inconsistencies on that particular account, you would challenge those inconsistencies in the process of trying to get that collection removed from your credit report in order to raise your credit score. Okay, but in terms of something like a late payment, okay, a late payment, you wouldn't go to the credit bureaus and try to challenge them on that. You will go to the original source, the original creditor, the person that you are in business with. Most of the time, if you reach out to the creditor, if you have a good story, and for example, the pandemic, right? A lot of people lost their job, unfortunately. If that is your story, then reach out to the creditors and most likely they will remove those late payment for you. Late payment is by far one of the worst things that you can actually happen to your credit score. The reason being is that it impacts the 2 highest category out of the 5, right? Which is the payment history that is responsible for 35% of your credit score, and the utilization category that is responsible for 30% of your credit score, right? So between the 2 categories, right, it's 65% of your credit score. And if you have a late payment, it impact both of those categories, okay? So for the payment history, you could actually gain 192.5 points. For utilization, you could gain, or lose, of course, 165 points in that category. So that's a lot of points. So you don't want to have late payments. Right. So in the case of you actually have evidence, you make those payments, and it's still showing that you was late for this particular month, then you are in it to win it. That's an even easier process. You just have to print out those bank records and then mail it into the creditors and show and prove that you did make those payments on time. You should be in the clear. Okay. So if you're not able to get through customer service, then you can write a goodwill letter to the executive of that particular creditor and not 9 out of 10 times they get those late payment removed to kind of help your credit score on the rise. Okay, so if it's late payment, you wouldn't be going to the credit bureau. You'd be going to the to the original creditors. All right. So for lack of judgment or bankruptcy, then of course you're not going to the credit bureau first. You are possibly you may not need to get the court records, because the court house they record in a different database. So you can actually go straight to those particular database and get the records from there and do a stare compares. So if it's a judgment, then you would need to go to LexisNexis. The good thing about LexisNexis, you can actually challenge through them. So, but request a report first so you can see what's in it before you challenge. Typically, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get that report back, and just create an account once you have it. Also, go to Pacer, create an account there. You cannot challenge with Pacer, but you can get those public records there. And now you have 2 records, and then compare that to what your credit reports are saying from the credit bureau, and see all 3 information. Do they have the same information? It should be the same information. If not, you have something to challenge there. So challenge with LexisNexis, then challenge with the credit bureaus to get those judgment off your records. Now, it doesn't clear you if you still owe that person that is suing you to not pay them, right? Based on the contract that you signed, you may still have to pay those obligations. It's just that it won't be in your credit report, all right? So now, if you already working with the credit bureaus and you send your first round letters in 30 days, which is what the Fair Credit Act said, they have to reply back to you within 30 days. You haven't heard from them, you follow up with a second round. And if it's another 30 days, which is 60 days in total, you haven't heard from the credit bureau, now you need to file a complaint with the CFPB. All right, so that's who you would go to file a complaint. And trust me, the credit bureau does not want to deal with those guys. What is the CFPB? CFPB is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's a government agency that is there to kind of protect consumers from being treated make sure you've been treated properly. According to the laws by the banks, the lenders, any financial institution, the credit bureaus, right? So that's who you would need to go to file a complaint, and I'm sure that will get the credit bureau's attention ASAP. Typically, you hear back from the CFPB, the agency, within 14 days. So from 14 days from when you file, you most likely will hear back from them. They're pretty good at getting back to you. So if the negatives in your report is due to utilization, so again, no, you would not be going to the credit bureau. That is a that is a you problem. Most likely you may be overusing your credit limit, your revolving debt side of the spectrum. You may be overusing them. What is a revolving debt? It's a credit card is a form of revolving debt. So let's just say you have a $5,000 limit on 2 or 3 credit cards, and you use 70% or 50% or 80% of the limit. That is a you thing. You wouldn't go to the credit bureaus for that. You would just need to pay that down to under 7% to maximize on that particular category. All right. So as you can see where I'm going with this, I just pick a few major things typically you see on your credit report that is hurting you majorly, and kind of give you the path to success in terms that what you would do, who you would go to. You do not go to the credit bureaus for everything that is wrong with your credit report. So you need to understand what's wrong with your credit report, and then you act accordingly based on those particular things. So again, I hope that was a great help to you. If you like the content, please like it. It does wonder. It helps other people to find the same very content that you're currently watching. If you like these type of content in general pertaining to credit, please consider subscribe and turn on the bell notification as it will help the channel to grow greatly. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. Until next one.